He comes down to Abram and he says, Abram, I'm going to bless you. So why? Why? What's the purpose of the blessing? So that others will be blessed. And he goes on, and then Abram has a son named Isaac. And to Isaac, God appeared and said, I will make your descendants as numerous as the stars in the sky. I will give them all these lands, and through your offspring, all nations on the earth will be blessed. And Isaac has a son named Jacob. Same thing. Same promise. I will bless you so that you will be a blessing to the nations, right? The idea is that, all right, I'm gonna give you this. I'm gonna give you this light, but you're not gonna just hold on to it. Why do you get it?
Be a blessing.
To bless others, right? The reason that you get a blessing is so that you can be a blessing. We just sang that song, right? The reason that, for us, the reason that we have the gospel of Jesus Christ is because it's going on its way to somebody else. Wouldn't that be crazy if the whole pinnacle of creation, the whole pinnacle of the gospel, the reason that Jesus died on the cross was just so that you could know. And then it stops with you. And then Jesus comes back and, it's good because Laura found out, right? But that's not why. Laura gets a blessing. She gets to learn the gospel because Lauren. That's easy enough. Because Lauren needs to know, right? So Laura gets the gospel. She gets a blessing. So you can pass it on to Lauren, right? And then Lauren gets it so she can pass it on to Amanda. You broke the chain, man. That's all right. But so Laura gets it because Lauren needs it, and Lauren needs it because Amanda needs it, right? And it goes on and on and on and on. But we forget, especially in American Christianity, we forget, we think, oh man, thank you God that you have blessed me, and now I'm going to get fat and happy, and I'm going to just sit in my blessings, and I'm going to sit and just stew and just be like, yeah, I'm blessed. Right? It's not the reason. That's not the purpose. We go on from there. We have with the story of Joseph, and they go into the land of Egypt, and there's a famine, and there's all these things happening, and then we have this story, right? We have this account of God leading the children of Israel out. Now, how many of you have always thought, man, that's a great story, right? That's a great story of God breaking our chains, breaking the bondage of our lives, God doing all this stuff. If we follow God, He's going to deliver us. How many of you have heard that before or thought it? Yeah? Okay? Yeah. If you look at here, what does God say to Pharaoh? Somebody read that for me. Real loud.
I raised you up for this very purpose, that I might show you my power, and that my name might be proclaimed in all the earth.
So what's the purpose of this account?
Witness.
Why is it that every time I ask a question, right? I can hear you when you whisper. Alright? That's what that's for. Alright, so we have this, alright? And God's like, alright, this is my purpose, right? My purpose is so that my name will be known. Do you realize that throughout this whole account, the phrase that the Egyptians may know, that the Egyptians may know, that the Egyptians may know, it's repeated throughout this whole account. Not that the Israelites will know, not that the Israelites will be saved, not that the Israelites can go and be happy and be free from slavery, but so that the Egyptians may know. The enemies may know. The ones who have put the Israelites, God's people, in bondage, so that they may know. Right? We have the plagues, right? Blood, frogs, gnats, flies, livestock, boils, hail, locusts, darkness, firstborn. We have all these things. Do you realize that in this day and age, Egypt had a whole ton of different gods that they prayed to for different reasons and different things. And each one of these were just a show of power by God over the gods of Egypt, so that everybody would know. Alright? Did it work? Exodus 12:37-38 says there were about 600,000 men on foot, besides women and children. Now those were Israelites, alright? Many other people went up with them. Who were the other people?
Egyptians.
My guess would be Egyptians, right? Yeah. Or at least other people, right? Yeah. Whoa. Mind-blowing, right? That's what it says. Other people. So I'm guessing that God's plan actually worked. So the Egyptians may know that He is God. All right, from there we go on, and the Egyptians kind of wander around, do laps in the desert. A lot of them die, and all this stuff happens, right? And then we get to Jericho. After Moses dies, Joshua's in charge. All right, who can tell me how many years pass from the time that the Egyptians or the Israelites Israelites leave Egypt to the time that they get here? Who can tell me? Guess? 40, right? 40. 40 or 40 plus, a little bit. They wander in the desert, they do all that stuff. So 40 years, keep that in mind. 40 years, this is what Rahab says. I know that the Lord has given this land to you, and that a great fear of you has fallen on us, so that all who live in this country are melting in fear because of you. We have heard how the Lord dried up the water of the Red Sea for you when you came out of Egypt, for the Lord your God is God in heaven above and on earth below. All right, how many years?
40.
40. Who is Rahab? She was a prostitute in the land of Jericho. She was a Jerican. Is that right? Jerichoian? I don't really know. She lived in this land, right? And she's saying, wow, we heard about what God did. We heard about that, and we're melting with fear. All right? Can any of you recall anything that happened 40 years ago? Anybody? What? Just say something. You were a little kid. Remember that? Vietnam War? Anything else? Yeah? Huh? The flood of 08. That. Okay, that's good. What's your name again? I'm sorry. Cody? Cody, that's a good illustration right there. Okay, I'm gonna use that. All right. Not only do we not remember anything that happened really 40 years ago. I mean, Vietnam War, yeah, we kind of read stories about it and stuff. But have you ever been anywhere where somebody is talking about the atrocities of Vietnam War, like for real, like talking about it so much that they're just so like they're. You've been somewhere where that's happened. All right. So you guys have. The majority of us, I would say, haven't. If you look up like things that happened 40 years ago, things that made headlines 40 years ago, the majority of those things that happened 40 years ago that really made headlines, maybe you read about it somewhere, maybe there's a few people here and there that say, yeah, but I guarantee you there's not this response, where everybody in the land is melting with fear. All right? Even 4 years ago, the flood of 08, yeah, that was pretty crazy. Have you ever just been in a coffee shop or wherever, or at school, and people talking still about the atrocities of the flood of 08, like in this way? See, I think there are many times where we forget that 40 years have passed. God got his point across. Right? God got his point across. This lady's saying everybody's melting with fear because of what happened. Alright? So we go to Solomon. Why did Solomon have his wisdom? God gave Solomon wisdom. He was the wisest guy. He's the one that is like, alright, let's cut this baby in half. We'll give a piece here, we'll give a piece here. Figure out who the real mom was, right? Everybody remember that story? This is a guy, like, people from thousands of miles away came to hear Solomon. All the kings, all the men of all nations came to listen to Solomon's wisdom. Do you understand that the core of Solomon's wisdom was fear the Lord, fear the Lord, fear the Lord, fear the Lord. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. Fear the Lord. That's what they took back to all their nations. The whole point of Solomon's wisdom was so that God's name would be known. Right? So we go from Solomon to Psalms. There are 106 Psalms that talk about the nations. Alright? Real quick, somebody repeat or finish this psalm for me. Be still and know. Okay, let's try that one more time. Be still and know. Yeah, good job. Alright, can somebody who has a Bible look up Psalm 46:10 for me? That's right. Be still and know that I am God. Somebody just look it up for me then. Psalm 46, verse 10. Let me know when you get there. Alright. Mary. Mari. Yeah, go ahead and read that. Here. Real loud.
Be still and know that I am God. I will be exalted in
Wait! Mari. I didn't say 10 and 11, just 10.
She didn't move.
Oh, wait, what? Alright, go ahead, Mari.
Be still and know that I am God. I will be exalted among the nations. I will be exalted in the earth.
Alright, so are you telling me, Mari, that the verse doesn't end with be still and know that I am God? I've been so duped all these years. Right? But isn't that what we do? So many psalms. Like, have you ever been in a church service? Like, if you're a church, I've been in a couple where they do this. You know, it's like the benediction, and the pastor stands up. May God be gracious to us and bless us and make His face to shine upon us. Right? As you go. Like we take, especially in our culture, we take the parts of the verses that are really awesome for us, right? Be still and know that I'm God. Yeah, I'm having a struggle right now, so I need to be still and know He's God. Right? Let's not worry about the last part, but I'm going to be still and know, because that's good for me, right? You know, it's like we have this culture where it's like, okay, let's really emphasize the parts of the verses that are good for me, but the other parts, I think that's for somebody else, right? I mean, that's for you. You know, the whole idea, and where Jesus says, you know, I will be with you always. Oh, yeah, that's for me. So go. Oh, that's for Jesse. Jesse, you're supposed to go. God says He'll be with me, but that's for you. I'm more of an A person, you're more of a B person, Jesse. Like verse Matthew 28, A and B, right? You know? That's what we do. We cut the last part off. And that's so many times. We're not going to go through all these, but there's 106 Psalms, and so many times we do the same thing. Isaiah, I will also make you a light for the Gentiles, that you may bring my salvation to the ends of the earth. For as the soil makes the sprout come up, and a garden causes seeds to grow, so the sovereign Lord will make righteousness and praise spring up before all nations. All right? Let's go back to these stories. We didn't hit on them a whole lot, but who can tell me what these stories are? David and Goliath. What else? Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. What do you get out of these stories? Like, somebody just tell me, what do you get out of these stories? Like, what's... God will save us, right? The little guy sometimes wins. Yeah. What else? What else? Trust in God even when it costs. All right? Let's take a deeper look. David and Goliath. I love the story of David and Goliath because, like I said, I didn't even grow until I went to college, right? So it's like, oh man, the little guy can overcome, right? Do you realize that the battle cry of David as he's running down to Goliath is this, and this is the PG version. You come against me with sword and spear and javelin, but I come against you in the name of the Lord Almighty, the God of the armies of Israel, whom you have defied. This day the Lord will hand you over to me. And then he goes into some graphic detail. And the whole world will know that there is a God in Israel. He goes down, what happens? Kills him, right? He goes and he takes that sling, slings it and hits him in the head, and Goliath falls over. And I don't think that was the kill shot, okay? Because then David runs up, he grabs his sword, and what's he do?
Cuts his head off.
Cuts his head off. Yeah, right? I mean, can you imagine this is a little guy and David's a big guy, so can you imagine, like, what's that, like, Soul Calibur game or something like that, where they have these, like, massive swords, right? That's what I think of when I see David, this little guy, taking his sword, and chops his head off. And then what's he do with the head? You guys know? He braids it around, like, right? And then he puts it in a nice little box, tapes it up, and sends it on to Jerusalem, which was still enemy territory. And it's like his calling cry. He's like, we're coming for you, right? Isn't that awesome? Woo! Right? And then, can you imagine with Jerusalem? Oh, we got a package. Who's that from? Right? Somebody get the scissors. Let's cut it open. Oh my goodness! Who would send you this, right? It's David. The guy's crazy. You know? That's what happened. And the whole point was so that God's name would be known. I think he got the point across with the FedEx head in the mail, right? I can go on. Daniel and Lion's Den. What happened to Daniel? There was a law being passed that he couldn't pray to God. Alright, so he did it anyway. He got thrown into the lion's den. Alright, and so, you know, and then the next morning, this is Daniel 6, the second part. Daniel answered, O king, live forever. May God, my God, send his angel, and he shut the mouths of the lions. They have not hurt me because I was found innocent in his sight, nor have I done any wrong before you, O king. So then this is what the king does. King Darius wrote to all the peoples, nations, and men of every language throughout the land. He basically says, all right,